Hey guys, how's it going? Professor Shuckle here, back with the rest of our playoff run for the Smogon Draft Kickoff Tour. Uh, for those who are not aware, we went 3-1 in the group stages and thus made it to the single elimination bracket that happens after. So the first round was a round of 384, which I believe they had to do just so they could get to a number divisible by 2, so that they could eliminate 128 players, so then it would be 256, and then they can just do a straightforward single elimination bracket from there. So yeah, without much further ado, let's jump into it. Obviously, as I said, it's single elimination, so it's win and you go through, and lose and you're out. So yeah, should be fun, right? Anyway, starting off, our opponent for the round of 384 game was Storm Witch. Again, I don't know him. He could be a Smogon player. I don't think I've seen them in draft, so probably a Smogon player. So it should be cool. They're a pretty interesting and scary team, I would say. They have an Iron Valiant, who, I believe was one of the best first picks, maybe other than Terra Dragonite, I guess. But most people picked Iron Valiant like 1, 2, or 3, so definitely, big threat. Obviously, it's not allowed to Terra, which is good. Tinglu, Tauros, the fire one. I don't know why the sprite is not showing up, but I did refresh my screen a couple of times and it didn't, so I can't really help it. Vival, which is the Terra captain as well. Corviknight and Toxtricity. And I believe my opponent had a Vaporeon and an Espatra on the bench. So pretty scary team. Like, there's a lot of threats, and Corviknight plus Tingler is a pretty solid defensive core as well. Huge threats to me were mostly the Iron Valiant. The Terra Vival could obviously be scary with like ground or fire to, kind of dent my team. Toxtricity was pretty scary because Mudstail didn't have a good matchup really. Let's jump into what I'm bringing for this game. Starting off, I'm bringing Iron Moth, which is going to be Terra Water once again. So this is the 5th time that I've brought, Terra Water. And we're running Stab, so Fury Dance, Sludge Wave, Energy Ball, and Morning Sun. Again, Iron Moth has a pretty strong matchup. He doesn't really switch into it well. His best switch into this are the Vaporeon and the Tinglu, like Spadef, but once we turn water, Vaporeon can't really do much to us, especially if he switches in on a Fury Dance and we get the boost right away. Then Energy Ball and Sludge Wave are both going to do a lot, so it's really tough for him to kind of beat this. He can kind of only beat it offensively, like with Scarf or the faster mons, but switching into it is a pain for him. So if we can get in Iron Moth in on the Corviknight, we should be in business. Water also helps us be helps us versus Tinglu and the Tauros and stuff. You can just stay in easier and Morning Sun up. So pretty straightforward. Enough speed for the Tauros, I believe, and then the rest in special attack and just whatever left over in bulk. And boost just because the Tinglu can, set up hazard, so we avoid that. Next up, Slowking with Max Fizdef, Cold Berry. And we're running Combine, Surf, Psyshock, Slack Off. I wasn't 100% sold on this because Vaporeon could be Haze or Roar very easily. But I wanted a way of not losing to sub Espatra if possible, because I was kind of scared of it. And I thought Calm Mind, because Slowking Spadef is pretty good, and usually Calm Mind Espatras run Stored Power, and I guess they would have to run Dazzling because we do have a Dark type Ignoring Moon. I thought they might not have courage to hit our Slowking, so if we were able to Calm Mind, we might be able to just, kind of break his team even with a bulky defensive Slowking. And the Cold Berry is just because I think the Weavile is going to be Terra Fire here to kind of resist the first impression from Slitherwing, as well as get a stab to hit the Klefki and Slitherwing in one. So if he is Fire type, Surf should do a lot of damage to it, and then Psyshock also should beat Calm Mind Vaporeon, which, funnily enough, is pretty strong versus my team. Calm Mind, Surf, Shadow Ball, and Ice Beam is pretty hard to switch in, so if you're able to combine up and then start putting some pressure, and we should be able to combine pretty freely on the Corviknight and the Ting-Lu, so that should help our case. Next up, we have a defensive Slitherwing with Rocky Helmet, and we're running Wild Charge, First Impression, U-Turn, and Morning Sun. Pretty offensive still, but this is going to be a primary check to the Weavile and to the Ting-Lu as well, because we eat the hits pretty easily, like the Earthquake and Dark Move from Ting-Lu, and First Impression is just good priority to have in general in case for like Scarf Toxtricity and Iron Valiant and stuff. And the Weavile, if he is a Terra that doesn't resist it, Wild Charge hits the Corviknight and Vaporeon in one, and then U-turns just for momentum, because like Slitherwing's not gonna do much in this game, I felt, with like the Corviknight, Tauros, and Vaporeon. So just a defensive helmet to get like chip, but still having enough attack to be a threat is what I wanted him to do, and which is what he's gonna do. Next up, we have Roaring Moon with the Boost Energy, and this time I have not messed up my set. It is speed boosting, in fact. This covers a one-time speed boosting Booster Energy Iron Valiant, because we can kill it with Acrobatics. That's basically it, to not lose to Iron Valiant, because in case the Klefki is used up for the Espatra or Tox, I still wanted a way of revenging the Iron Valiant, because this is the only thing on my team faster than it. So if it is a speed boosting Iron Valiant, we should be able to scare it out. And once we scare it out, we will always have our Acrobatics anyway, so, that works. So yeah, basically as much attack as we can without being attack boosting. And we're running Jawlock, which is pretty cool because it traps the Vaporeon, like it traps the user and the opponent on the field. And what I want to do with that is, like, if I trap the Vaporeon, for example, I can just taunt him and stop him from like wishing or roosting, which I thought was pretty big. U-turn just for momentum, Acrobatics hits the Valiant, and taunt to stop the Vaporeon and Corviknight. And maybe even the Ting-Lu, I guess. Next up, we have Glimora with another Black Sludge Corrosion, just because we are playing, I believe this is the third or fourth Corviknight, I can't remember, but we've definitely played a lot of Corviknights. So we're running Toxic Corrosion to hit the Corviknight. It's also just good for everything else in general. Mortal Spin to get rid of the hazards that Ting-Lu sets. And Stealth Rocks, because rocks are good. And Venoshock. I thought since I'm gonna get a poison on everything, I can just Venoshock, and like I don't really care about the Corviknight because it's not gonna do much, and I have like Iron Moth and Slowking for it as well. And Venoshock just hit everything else slightly harder. Also, because there's only one move, I wanted a move that definitely did damage to the Iron Valiant because I thought that was a threat. And like Venoshock just did a good chunk of damage to almost everything, so I was like, okay. And we are pretty sped up, so because this is our self check to the Toxtricity, like it eats Boom Burst really well, but it doesn't really eat the electric moves that well. And we are not bringing Mudsdale, so this is going to be a little tricky with the Toxtricity, but this is our best bet at it, so it is just sped up for the Tox. And last we have Klefki, which is Fizz Def, but it's going to be a primary Espatra check. And we're running Lagging Tail with the Switcheroo so that we can slow down the Espatra if it gets out of hand. We can also use it for the Toxtricity and the Iron Valiant as well, depending on whatever's a threat. Spikes, because spikes are good, and his only removal is Corviknight, and if he Toxic it, we should be able to pressure that. And Trick Room was, again, just another thing in case the Espatra starts Calm Minding, we can Trick Room and then just be faster than every. Because most of our team is slow, minus like the Iron Moth and Roaring Moon. So if we Trick Room, it's actually beneficial for us because his team's like a lot faster. So I thought that was just one way of like making sure nothing gets out of hand. So yeah. As for leads, I don't really have a dedicated lead. But not seeing Espatra, I was like, oh, my Klefki is the most expendable, but I wanted to keep him in the back still because based on whatever is the most curious to me, I could definitely, like cripple it so that it's not a problem for the rest of my team. So here, looking at it, I thought Iron Moth was just the best lead. If Toxtricity led, obviously I'd be in a bad position. But other than that, it seemed to lead pretty okay into like the Ting-Lu, Weavile, Tauros, and Corviknight. So I thought 4 out of 6 is not too bad. And even actually, it's pretty good with the versus the Valiant because I just Terra and I kill him with Sludge Wave and he won't kill me. So I thought Iron Moth was just a pretty good lead. So I do lead it as the Tauros comes out. And here, since I knew I was faster than this, I decided to just Terra immediately. So I get my defensive typing, and I just decided to Sludge Wave. As the Tauros does go for Earthquake, there's a good chunk, 40, but he's going to die there, so I just fire off the Sludge Wave again. I could have made a read, but I didn't want to risk it because if I get it wrong, I would take another Earthquake and be at like, 20%, which I didn't want. So in comes the Tinglu. I decided to Energy Ball just to see how much it would do. It does 28, revealing he is like max PDF Tinglu. As he does set up the rocks, which is fine. And here, I believe I clicked Morning Sun to get healthy. Yeah, as he reveals the Protect, to get like leftovers recovery and stay healthy. So pretty good set. And once again, like Tingler is just really fat and hard to kill. Fairy Dance does 17. I do get the boost, but he clicks Whirlwind and is able to phase us out. So it seems to be he is Earthquake, Rocks, Protect, Whirlwind. So I was like, okay, cool. Slither Wing should wall this then. Here I don't really want to let my Glamora die, so I just go into the Slither Wing as he clicks Earthquake, and we chew that pretty well. I believe I clicked U-turn here thinking he would swap, but he makes a really good play and just clicks Protect to get some more lefties, so he can keep coming in on the Iron Moth, which is fine. Here I believe I clicked Morning Sun, so he gets me here. I didn't know if he was going to stay in or not, to be honest. Maybe I thought he might just click Whirlwind or Earthquake, because Tinglu's so fat he lead the U-turn, and then I don't really switch into Earthquake that well. So I decided to now U-turn, trying to see if the Corviknight is Helmet or not. As the Corviknight goes for its own U-turn, getting momentum, and back into Tinglu. I just click Energy Ball, trying to keep it low. As he clicks Whirlwind, and unfortunately we go into a Roaring Moon and waste our booster energy, which is kind of unfortunate, but not the end of the world. Just because the Espathra didn't come, I do have a Klefki Lightning Tail to trick. So I'm not too worried about the Iron Valiant, like I do have a way of checking it, so... But this was definitely unfortunate. Here, not wanting to take an Earthquake to get weakened, I just click U-turn, which is just a good chunk because he's max PDF, so 29 is pretty decent. And I go into Slither Wing as he clicks the Whirlwind, and we go back into the Roaring Moon. Here, expecting a Protect, I just go into the Slither Wing as he does click Protect. And here I thought he would click Protect just to get left a little bit of healing back, because that way he won't die to 2 Energy Balls if I predict him on the switch from Iron Moth, because it did 28%, right? So if he protected, he would be at 55. 28% would put him at 27, but he would get 6% back, so it'd be at 33, which would be just outside of range of the Energy Ball. So I thought he was going to protect here, so I decided to call that and click Morning Sun, but he gets me there with the Corviknight. But again, it's not the end of the world because he's not really forcing progress. Because I have the Morning Sun recovery on a couple of my Moths. But he does have the Rocks up, so I definitely need... Basically, I haven't made much progress either. I've just gotten a Tinglu at half. So I definitely need to get my hazards up to start making some progress. So here, I decided to just U-turn again, just, and go into my Slowking this time. As he does make the play and click Brave Bird this time, so I guess he thought I might call him on a U-turn and like stay into Wild Charge or Flare Blitz. And then he U-turns and he would be low. So maybe that. But he does Brave Bird, so now I can just click the Slack Off expecting a U-turn, so I'd go back to full. As in comes the Tinglu. I'm not sure why, maybe to scout for like a trick, I guess. Because I didn't reveal an item, I was not Boots. So I don't know. I guess he was scouting, right? I mean, technically he didn't really have good switch-ins to the Slowking. Because like if I click Thunder Wave or something, I guess he was covering for like Thunder Wave and stuff. Yeah, I like to understand like nothing from the Slowking initially is gonna kill the Tinglu, right? So here I click the Surf as he's able to protect and get some health back. So this Tinglu is super annoying at the moment. But I just spammed Surf. I wanted to keep the Tinglu low. And Surf actually did pretty good damage because he didn't bring the Vaporeon. So it was like, it would kill the Tauros. It was a good chip on the Weavile, Tox, Valiant. Even on the Corviknight, right? It does clean 30. In comes the Corviknight. I believe I just Calm-Minded it here, expecting a roost. Yep. And now, this is what I meant. Like, now Slowking is suddenly a threat because he doesn't have the best switch-ins to it. So I decided to just click Surf now, as he does go into the Toxtricity. As I'm able to Surf and do a good chunk of damage, 56. And here I calc, if he was Scarf, well, Overdrive didn't kill me, because Slowking is just naturally so specially defensive. So I decided it was worth the risk to stay in and like live and just kill the Toxtricity if he was Scarf. And I mean, if he was just gonna Volt, maybe calling me to switch, then like he would get momentum, right? But if I stay in, now he has to take another Surf on something. So I thought it was just my best interest to Surf, as he clicks Overdrive and kills, revealing to us that he specs, which is definitely scary, but it's good in the sense that my Iron Moth and Roaring Moon are faster and can kill it from this range, which is big because if this was Scarf, this could have definitely been a problem with like Scarf Overdrive later. So that was good to know, because if this was Scarf and he clicked like Volt Switch, I would definitely have to get my hazards up too, so I could chip him into range of First Impression. But yeah, here I just go into my Glimora, and because he's revealed specs and he doesn't know anything about my Glimora other than I'm Black Sludge, he has to respect that I'm faster and can just click the Earth Power to take him out. So thinking he would swap, I click the Rocks, and he does go into Corviknight. And here I decide to just click Toxic to put the Corviknight on the timer as he goes into Tinglu. It's a good scout by him, but this also works for me because now Tinglu is going to start taking chip, and any damage I do on this Tinglu is going to be permanent, which means I should be able to chip him down pretty quickly. Yeah, and he can't protect for recovery anymore, right? So I go into my Slitherwing because, as I said, like he's going to take the toxic damage is going to rack up, so I'm definitely chipping him now, and like when he comes in from Rocks, he's at 43 and he can't go up anymore, so which is epic. Here I believe I clicked the U-turn trying to get momentum. Yep, that's what I do. Little scary though, because I am leaving my Slitherwing low, but I definitely wanted to force the issue now that I have Rocks up. So I'm able to go into my Iron Moth, and I can just click a free Fury Dance, which is what I do 19, but because of the Toxic, he's still in range of the Energy Ball, and I'm able to take out the Tinglu, which is good because now he doesn't have a swap into the Moth, because everything dies. In comes the Weavile, reveals not to be Boot, so I was like, oh, this could be Band-Aid, this could be Life Orb, or some other item, so I decided to just go into my Slitherwing. As he does click the Night Slash and does a lot of damage, so I thought he was Banded because we are pretty bulky. And here, this is a play that could go either way. He could, well, he has to respect the First Impression here, right? Even though I've turned bulky, I could definitely get First Impression. And if I have First Impression, the Weavile's gone. And that's all mostly what the Slitherwing was here for, and he probably needs the Weavile to force like damage. And to kill the Roaring Moon potentially, right? Because my Roaring Moon's faster than everything else. So if he gets that, but if I click First Impression and he swaps, then my Slitherwing is as good as dead because I won't really get a chance to heal him. Like his most obvious switch-in would be the Tauros here, right? And the Tauros is faster, and I won't get the chance to heal this up basically. Because everything is faster and will be able to kill me. So, right, it's either he gives up his Weavile or I give up my Slitherwing, and I thought he would not give me his Weavile, so I make the play and decide to click Morning Sun. Even if I got this play wrong, I definitely have plays around, because this would take another 16% from Helmet, so he'd be at 43%. So if I could stop him from defogging, I could definitely... The Weavile would only have one switch-in, which would be all I need, because we still have a full health Klefki in the back, ready for, like ready to check something that goes out of threat, right? So here I decide to make the play to Morning Sun, as he does go into Tauros, so we get that play right. And now we have a good amount of health where we can check the Weavile again. Now I go back into the Iron Moth as he clicks the Wisp, which is fine, we don't really care. Here, luckily, using Ranger Fury Dance, so I could just click it, hoping for the boost, and I get it, which is good. In comes the Weavile again, and now since my Slitherwing is healthy, I can just go back into the Slitherwing as he makes the double into Corviknight, which I guess is a good double, but I mean, if he can get the defog off, which is his best bet, is probably on the Slitherwing of Klefki. So I get the play. But what I want, so he gets me there, but here, instead of swapping, which would give him momentum if he clicks U-turn or defogs, both of which were in his favor, I decided to punish the defog potential by clicking Wild Charge. Because if he defogs and I click Wild Charge, it'll do about 35, I think, which would leave him at around, 45, 40, 45, and would force a roost, right? And what I can do by that is go into my Iron Moth next time as it forces the roost, and again, click Fairy Dance and get a kill. If he decides to click U-turn to get momentum, me clicking Wild Charge is going to do 35, and then Rocky Helmet will do another 16, so doing about 50, leaving him at 30%, and then 12% on Rock Sentry the next time, which would keep him very low and almost impossible to defog. So I try to call that out because I know the Weavile is really low and only has one more switch in. And if I can somehow get Klefki to set up a spike in Corviknight's death, then the Weavile doesn't even get a chance to come in. So I wanted to try and force progress on the defog or U-turn, as he does click U-turn. And as you can see, it leaves him at 27%, which will be 15% when he enters next on rocks. And really, really low, basically where anything will kill him, right? So that's what I wanted to do. I get that play right, as he does go into the Iron Valiant now and reveals to be the speed boosting set. Deciding to keep the first impression because it could still be handy. I go into my Klefki because this doesn't really get much for it. It only gets Fire Punch, so it's not much I can do. Here, deciding to scout whether he would... I double to see if he would scout for like a trick, but I guess he was too far behind to actually scout for it. Like, also this way, if he made the double into Corviknight to defog, I would be able to toxic the Corviknight and then keep up my rocks. Like I could spam rocks after I've toxic the Corviknight, right? So I wanted to make that play to cover the Corviknight play or him like switching moves, like as he does, as he stays in and decides to click Fire Punch. So this covered both the plays, which is fine, and now I can just go back into my Klefki as he clicks the Psy Shock. So, and this time thinking, okay, he's not gonna swap, maybe because he used up his booster energy, and once, like if he swaps, then he's not really beating Roaring Moon. So I guess this was his, all-out attempt. So I decided to just trick and give him the Lightning Tail, which is really good for me because now I can just kill him with Iron Moth too, right? So Iron Moth should be able to kill the Corviknight, the Toxtricity, and the Iron Valiant. And if I can get up a layer of Spike, then the Weavile is dead too. So I get greedy and click Spikes right here, which I believe was technically a misplay because I think his best play was not to make this pivot, but to pivot into Corviknight to try and get a defog off my choke, right? Because if he gets defogged, then definitely he has a way of winning with the Weavile, because Weavile is faster than everything on my team, and every time he's in, he can definitely try to get a kill. If he he would have to predict the ice move, but I think since the Klefki is pretty low, I think it's a pretty free ice click from him, and I think that would take out the Slitherwing after rock, so I would only be able to get one round of helmet on him, right? So I think that was his best way of winning, and he should have definitely gone into Corviknight to defog, but he goes into Tox. I'm not really sure why, but luckily for me, I realized that I can't have Klefki in on the field. That's my loose con. So I make the play into Slitherwing. If he attacks me, it's fine. And if he makes into Corviknight, I'll be able to kill the Corviknight, so he won't be able to defog. So this basically covered that. I didn't want Klefki on the field because, as I said, that's how I lose the game. As he clicks Boom Burst and takes me out, which is fine. I decided to just go into Iron Moth, and this is actually GG because Uh, as I said, Fairy Dance are going to kill the Tox. The Weavile is dead to Hazards. The Valiant has Lagging Tail, so I can just Sludge Wave take it out, and the Corviknight dies to Fairy Dance as well. So yeah, that is GG, and we are able to win 4-0. I don't believe there was any hacks, so this was pretty clean, pretty good game. Even though I won 4-0, this was actually a lot closer because he was definitely getting to an end game where he could potentially win with Weavile. And I think I misplayed by clicking that spike with Klefki, because if he had got it, his only way of winning was to go into Corviknight and either get a Roost off or a Defog off. I guess Roost works, because if he gets a Roost and I don't go into my Iron Moth, then he's able to Defog because nothing else on my team kills him in one hit. I think that was his way of winning, but unfortunately he didn't take it, even though I did choke that one turn. So luckily for us, we're able to win and progress to the next round, which will be the round of 256. So let's jump into that. For a round of 256, we're up against Zeke 2K5, or Zeke 2005, I guess, who has a team of Roaring Moon, Corviknights, yet another Corviknight, 4th or 5th, Mudsdale, Iron Hands. Our first Iron Hands, I looked up this thing and it was pretty like strong and bulky and didn't die to hit, so it was really threatening for sure. Skeledirge, which is also the Terra Captain, and I believe this is a 3rd Skeledirge. So definitely gonna be scary because we did lose to a Terra Fairy Skeledirge, and it's really good versus my team. Gardevoir, which is I think a pretty big threat in this meta. Like Gardevoir has very few switch-ins, and Scarf Gardevoir, if it predicts correctly, it definitely seems like a big threat. He left a Toxapex and a Primeape on the bench. I wasn't too worried about Primeape, but maybe that was my mistake because Rage Fist is definitely broken, like the move that bumps up by 50 every time it's hit, and Primeape can hold the Eviolite, so it's definitely bulky, especially with like bulk up and stuff, but I was hoping I had enough for it, so I didn't really prep for it, and Toxapex was definitely something I considered, like it was a good check to like Slitherwing and stuff, but obviously it lost like Scald and Knockoff, I think, so wasn't the best option, so like this 6 definitely makes sense. He definitely has a lot of threats. Roaring Moon is pretty strong versus my team if the Mudsdale dies. Like Earthquake is really strong because I'm leaving the Slitherwing on bench, so I don't have First Impression nor a Ground Resist. So Choice Band Earthquake is actually pretty strong. Iron Hands, as I said, was really, really strong. Like if he's able to get rid of the Mudsdale somehow, or basically if he uses Iron Hands to get rid of the Mudsdale, that opens up Roaring Moon or Dragon Dance. That opens up Choice Band or Dragon Dance Roaring Moon to just click Earthquake and win. And Skeledirge is obviously scary. We don't really swap into him really well with like the Torch Song and stuff. So anyway, let's jump into what we're bringing. And starting off, since there's a Corviknight, we are bringing the Black Sludge Corrosion once again. But this time we're pretty offensive and pretty fast. I believe we had enough speed for the guard because I was scared of guard for sure. And we're running Toxic, Earth Power, Sludge Bomb, and Power Gem. So Stab's Earth Power. Earth Power is actually pretty good here. The only immunity to Earth Power is the Corviknight, which we can Toxic. And otherwise it's just generally really strong. And also, if he tears into Fairy and the Skeledirge, we should be able to take him out with Sludge Bomb. So again, Glimmora is just pretty strong. I just kept Black Sludge because, you know, I believe the Corviknight is going to be the most likely switch into Glimmora. And every time he does that, we just get a little bit of recovery back, which is good. I did think about Mortal Spin, but his only hazard is the rocks on Mudsdale. And we have a plan for Mudsdale, as I said, as we'll see. So I didn't really think I needed Spin here. Next up, we have Roaring Moon with the booster energy. We just max attack, max speed to speed tie with the Roaring Moon. So this means we are attack boosting this time. And this is by, you know, we mean to be. And we're running the Iron Head, Jawlock, Earthquake, and Dragon Claw. Jawlock is just, once again, to trap whatever, maybe the Skeledirge, so we can Iron Head it, which will do about 50 or something, I believe. Unaware does not ignore the boost from booster energies, so that +1, well, not exactly a +1, that boost will not be ignored, so we do a good chunk of damage with the Iron Head. Earthquake, as I said, ground is just pretty strong in general, and Dragon Claw to hit the Roaring Moon pretty hard. So yeah, pretty basic stuff. Next up, we have another Slowking with the Clover Berry. This time we mixed defensive because I was pretty scared of Gardevoir and I wanted something that could take special hits, so Slowking seemed the best. And I was mostly worried about Scarf Gardevoir, so with this Spadef and Calm Nature, we are able to not be 2-hit KO'd after Rocks on the Slowking, and because I don't think Rocks will go up, we should not be 3-hit KO'd by Gardevoir's Moonblast, which is pretty good. And we're running Chill Reception, which is just Momentum, Surf, which is pretty, decent. And Future Sight, I thought Future Sight plus Chill Reception just made like a good synergy combo. If you're able to get in the Iron Moth, it definitely helps us with like forcing him to go into stuff that will have to take like a pretty big hit. And Thunder Wave was just, with the Cold Berry, was just a way to stop the Roaring Moon from like Dragon Dancing on us. Just because it felt like a threat, and Thunder Wave was also good for like the Gardevoir. Yeah. Next up, we have Iron Moth with the Booster Energy and Terra type Water once again for the 6th time. This is going to be a dedicated lead because I was watching my opponent's previous games, mostly to get an idea on what kind of Terra he prefers on his Skeledirge, because there was a Dragon Skeledirge and a Fairy Skeledirge in the group stage versus me, and I wanted to see what other kind of Skeledirges could come. And I noticed that he had a habit of leading Mudstail every single game just to get a rock. And I guess because that's his only hazards and he wanted to, force progress with his team. So I'm leading the Booster Energy to give us a special attack boost, and Terra Blast to just nuke that Mudstail out before he can get up his rocks and kind of mess up his game plan. And next up, we're running Sludge Wave, which is just pretty strong in general. It was the strongest hit versus... Well, it wasn't the strongest hit versus Iron Hands, but it was the best move that hit the Roaring Moon and Iron Hands in one, so I just went for it. And Gardevoir in one, I guess. And Discharge, because there was a Toxapex and Corviknight, so I thought that was just a better coverage move. And Pairs are good. And then Morning Sun to keep ourselves healthy as usual, because we've been running... bulkier Iron Moths, and we are modest because after Roaring Moon, his fastest mon is the Gardevoir, so we can, invest a lot more in bulk. Next up, we have Klefki with the Shuka Berry, max HP, max defense. This is our Roaring Moon check. We're running Draining Kiss, which hits it super effectively and heals his back. Spikes because his only removal is Corviknight, and if we can get a Toxicon, we pressure it, same thing. Reflect is just to kind of help us versus the Roaring Moon and like make some of our other members on the team live hits better. And then Fairy Lock was just in case I need the Skeledirge just getting out of hand. I can sack the Klefki to it as a Fairy Lock, and what Fairy Lock does is it keeps the whatever's in the field at the time when I click Fairy Lock is locked in for the next turn. So even if I die as I click Fairy Lock, which if I click Fairy Lock, it'll be a status move, so Prankster will make us go first. Whatever's in at the time will be trapped, and we will have the opportunity to take it out. So if you trap like the Skeledirge, we can Sludge Wave him, and like if it's a Gardevoir trapped into Moonblast or Mystical Fire, we can go into like, Glimora and take him out, stuff like that. I just thought it'd be useful, and then Shuka Berry is just for the Earthquake. I debated Magnet Rise for a while, but like Skeledirge just seemed like a big problem, so I just wanted to have a way of like taking it out if I could. Next up, we have Rocky Helmet, Mudstail, pretty bulky. I'm running Adamant though just to do like more chip because his team doesn't have recovery other than Corviknight, which we are carrying the Smackdown for. So if we can Smackdown the Corviknight, we should be able to Earthquake and do some serious damage, because Natsugona's team resists ground as well. And we're running Rocks because, again, force the Corviknight into Defog, and then Roar in case something sets up and tries to get out of hand, like Iron Defense Corviknight, Calm Mind Gardevoir, Sword Stance, Iron Defense, Iron Hand, something like that. Thought it was just the best coverage, and then Rocky Helmet is just to get chip on the Iron Hands. This is our dedicated check to Iron Hands. So yeah, let's jump into it. As I said, I was going to lead the Iron Moth and Terra right away. as he does leave the Mudstail, and if he's not Sash or Pasho, this is dead. Actually, maybe even if it was Pasho, he would have to be very have to live. But yeah, we're able to take out the Mudstail, no rocks go up. And so we're now boots on this thing, but no hazards will go up, so this is perfect. In comes the Iron Hand. And I just go into Mudstail as he does click the Wild Charge, so perfect, as we can get up our rocks for free. As in comes the Corviknight, which is fine. I believe I just go back into Iron Moth here. I'm not sure. I guess I could have stayed into Smackdown, but I guess this covers the Iron Defense. But this is not what I was thinking of at the time. I think I thought he would just U-turn, and I thought it's better to keep or if he was going to defog right away, I thought this was the better play. But he clicks Iron Defense, so I was like, okay. And I just click, actually, I make a prediction that he's not going to stay in on the Iron Moth, as I can click Fury Dance. So I make the prediction and click Terra Blast because his Skeledirge hasn't terrored yet. So I'm able to catch it clean for a big chunk, 74%. And here I click it again, just because I wasn't sure what Terra was gonna. If he terrored, Sludge Wave didn't hit him if he didn't Terra, and neither did Discharge, and they didn't kill. So I thought, okay, I'll just Terra Blast. Even if he goes Fairy, it should kill. And if he goes Dragon, I'll Sludge Wave him after. But he reveals to be Terra Water and is able to slack off. So I was like, oh, that's a little. I guess that's cool. But I can now just Discharge because it'll be super effective. Trying to fish for the Para. And here I click Sludge Wave. I guess I thought maybe after that first Discharge he might go into Iron Hands, which should take this on pretty well actually. So I click Sludge Wave, but he slacks off, so I was like, okay. But I still do it just, in case he tries anything. And I was like, okay, he's not changing his mind, so I decided to click Discharge. As he makes the pivot into Corviknight, not really sure why. I definitely thought the Iron Hands was the better play, but I guess he was trying to catch me with the Sludge Wave. I don't think that would help. But here, yeah, as I caught him on the Discharge, I can now spam Discharge again as he clicks the Iron Head. So I guess because I got him with the Discharge, he didn't feel like saving it. I don't know. But now his removal is gone, so that means the rocks stay up, and if I can get some spikes up too, we can definitely start chipping things down. In comes the Gardevoir. This cannot, if he's Carve, he cannot kill us, and if he's like Kibia or whatever, I wanted to find it out. So I decided to just stay and I click Sludge Wave as he does reveal to be Scarf Thunderbolt. He does bring us pretty low, but he does not kill us. So we're able to do like a good amount of damage and take it out, and we're definitely 3 months ahead. In comes the Iron Hand finally, which is what I thought would happen earlier. And I can just go into Mudstail as he does Earthquake and still does a good chunk, but now we get the boost. I click Earthquake here as the Skeledirge comes in, and just going to Slowking to pivot here as he does slack off, which is fine. I believe I clicked Chilly Reception here. Oh, I clicked Thunderwave just to para it. I guess which also works, like para is a win con, Thunderwave is a win con. And I go into Roaring Moon expecting another Ghost move, as he does click Shadow Ball, so we're able to get him there. And decided to just click Jawlock. I mean, if he was Wisp, he was Wisp. But I was like basically hoping for a para, or like trying to keep him low, or waste his Slack House because he only has 3 left. But he clicks the Torch Song, so I guess. Oh, because he was not Terra Fairy, he didn't really have a way of hitting me. So I thought his only thing would be like Wisp, or if it wasn't Wisp, I wasn't sure what he would be. So he reveals Torch Song, so I was like, oh, okay. And I click the Dragon Claw, and I do get a crit, which, definitely mattered because the last Jawlock only did 45, so I don't know, it could have been a roll, but I think that one mattered. But I'm not sure, but we were able to take out the Skeledirge, and this is looking really good, although the Roaring Moon could still reverse this, in theory, if the Iron Hands is able to get the Mudstail, like, a little more chip. And then comes the Roaring Moon here. I didn't want to let him set up, like DD or something. In case he was like DD Lum, so my Thunderwave would not work. So I decided to just go for it. And also, like, if he's Adamant or something, we could just get the kill. But he wins the tie and kills us, and I was like, okay, I can just go into my Klefki and I click the free Draining Kiss, which is super effective against both of these Pokemon. And I'm Shuka, so I would live any crit Earthquake or whatever. As I click Draining Kiss, doesn't do a lot, because this thing is so fat, like just 17% on a super effective hit. If I go back into Mudstail, as he clicks Earthquake once again, and here I can click the Earthquake as he does click the Drain Punch to try to get some recovery, but I do have the Rocky Helmet to help us chip this thing down. And now we can Earthquake again, but we do live, and the Iron Hands is gone. But in comes the Roaring Moon, and there's still a way we could lose this if he crits a couple of Earthquakes. So I decided to let the Mudstail go down because he wasn't leaving any hit, and I'm going to my Clef Key and click Draining Kiss. As you can see, it only did 48 through the Shuka, so even if he crit, we would have been able to live. And I Draining Kiss and go back to 100%. But now I didn't know what the roll was, and he could also crit us and just kill me. So I didn't think of going for Draining Kiss again, and I went for Reflect just to make it easier for the Slow King to kind of, paralyze him. Because obviously the Iron Moth is in range of dying, the Glimora will die, and like if the Clef Key dies, then and I don't set up the Reflect, then I don't think the Slow King will beat him either. In case I miss like Thunderwave or whatever, so I thought my best play was to Reflect up to kind of give them a chance. So you Reflect up as he clicks the Earthquake, and now I can go for my Draining Kiss. Basically, this sequence just covered crits, I think. Because obviously I could just go into Slow King, which would be a 93, and with the Reflect up, I don't think Bandit EQ would kill me. So like, even if it crits me and I missed the Thunder Wave, which would be like the worst case scenario, I would have like a sack to get regen, and then sack again, and then Thunder Wave, I guess. Actually, I couldn't sack again. If I lost everything, I wouldn't be able to kill him. So yeah. I would definitely have to like. Basically, I think it gave me another chance in case I missed Thunderwave or like crits happen. So yeah, 4-0 win to progress. Here I think we figured out the benefits of like scouting replays because we were able to take out the Mudstail and kind of not have rocks up on our side, which helped us, not take those damage and remove his ways of progressing. And just able to, do damage ourselves, which is pretty good. So next up, the round of 128, I believe. Yeah, 128, right? And we're up against Chrome. Again, I've not seen him around, so I guess he's a Smogon player. And he has a pretty interesting team of Chen Pao, which is also his Terra captain. Palmont, which is allowed to use Revival Blessing, but cannot hold a Lapa Berry, so it can only do it once. Volcarona, which is not Terra, which was a little interesting because Terra Volcarona has been really good in this format. Gothitelle, which, with Shadow Tag allowed, so definitely a mon that forces a lot of prep. Fortress, which is actually pretty decent in this meta because it does get Iron Defense and Body Press, and it gets all the hazards, and removal is limited, so it's a pretty good removal option. And like a pretty good hazard setter. And Altaria, which I didn't really expect, so once again, something I didn't prep too much for showing up, which is a little scary. I was convinced he was going to bring a Rotom Wash because Rotom Wash is just epic, right? And I don't really have the best of switch-ins to Rotom Wash. With like Volt Switch, Hydro, Wisp is just very annoying versus my team with Thunder Wave. Even screens like to help Chen Pao or Volcarona setup was definitely scary because I don't have removal or like removal to get rid of screens. And I think his last one was a Vaporeon, but again, Vaporeon was bench versus me, so I guess Vaporeon was just not good versus me. But threats, Chen Pao definitely a huge threat. With the Terra, he can definitely go like Terra Ground or Terra Fire to get rid of the Clef Key. I was personally more scared for Terra Fire because I thought Terrifier nukes both Clef Key and the Slitherwing in one, and also Terrifier gives the resist to First Impression, which is like if I use it to revenge him. On the other hand, though, Terra Ground gives him like an immunity to Thunder Wave, which is big, and like in general, my team hates ground types because my only resist is Slitherwing, so that's fair. Palmont, I wasn't sure if it would come or not because. But I know he's been using Iron Fist Palmont a lot, and he loves his priority. And I thought it made sense in case, I was like DD Yachi, Roaring Moon or something, and I get. So, like, the double priority basically keeps my Roaring Moon in check. And then he can obviously Revival Blessing, something's carried back. Volcarona was a huge threat versus my team. Cover Dance, Psychic, Bug Buzz, and Fire Move was like really, really strong. If the Mudstail got chipped, he could definitely put in the work, nothing on my team really takes it on. Especially if he's like, Lum or something, if he's able to keep off hazards. Gothitelle obviously can trap a bunch of my mons like Klefki, Slowking, Glimora, Mudstale, Slitherwing. So, I have my work cut out on not being trapped because I need my pieces to win. Fortress setting hazards is definitely annoying. And there's also one of his best check to Roaring Moon. Then Altari, I wasn't sure what it was going to do, but I didn't think DD was a scary thing. I thought maybe it would be Spadef to check the Moth. But anyways, let's jump into our prep. Starting with, we have Spadef, Glimora, but still modest because he doesn't really have a good Power Gem resist. His only resist to Power Gem is the Palm Art, which still takes a lot because it's not bulky. And we're running Shell so that the Gothitelle cannot trap us, and this is our response to the Volcarona. I believe if he is not modest Volcarona, if he's just timid, we live 1+1 Psychic after rocks. And this is our best bet, and Power Gem should take it out. So yeah, this is basically our best bet for Volcarona, is what I was thinking. Power Gem, Energy Ball is for the Vaporeon, because Power Gem hits everything else, so I thought Energy Ball was just good for the Vaporeon. Mortal Spin to get rid of hazards, and then Spikes to stack our own. Next up, we have a pretty interesting Roaring Moon set. I went through a lot of Roaring Moon sets here because for once I had a really good Roaring Moon matchup, but I wasn't sure what was the best way because obviously he didn't switch into it, but he definitely revenged me with his double priority. So I wasn't sure if I wanted to be DD, if I just wanted to be banned, but then my friend L5 and Veno and Sean, I think, we all just like, somehow this set came to be. I believe it started with sub-loaded die scale shot, but then we realized we don't really need scale shot, so it just went to outrage. But sub, and this is to take advantage of the Gothitelle because we do have a Shell and Glimora. If he tries to trap it, we can go into our Roaring Moon. As he clicks Psychic, and we are immune, and now we get a free sub. And the other one was Rotom Wash. If it tries to like Wisp a Thunderwave, we can sub up on him, or even if he volts the volt won't break the sub, so we just keep it. And we get to fire off a strong attack from behind it. But obviously Volcarona is a pretty good check because it doesn't die to anything unless I run Rock Move, and I didn't really have space to run it. So we decide to run Throat Chop, which prevents Bug Buzz from working, right? And I feel like he's not going to prep for that. He's definitely going to be Bug Buzz because Bug Buzz is like his best way of hitting Roaring Moon plus Slowking. So I feel like we should be able to get him with that, and if he's not... And Protective Pads is just so he doesn't chip us down with the Helmet Fortress or Flame Body Volcarona. And then Outrage just felt pretty safe behind sub, like it's not much you can do, especially if you catch a Fortress early with Fire Fang, and which is all Fire Fang is for. Next up we have Iron Moth with Boots, and once again we are Terra Water, so 7 for 7. Water just seemed the best mid-ground between typings. I debated Fire, but Water with Terra Blast was like my only way of hitting this Volcarona hard. So I decided to just be Stabs, Terra Blast, and Morning Sun. I debated Bug Buzz for a while to hit the Gothitelle harder. But then in the end decided Sludge Wave was enough, especially if I get a Fury Dance boost. So yeah, 3 attacks, Morning Sun, the usual we've been running. Enough speed for, I think, something creeping Rotom, I think. I think I was around 300, 302 or something. Next up, we have the Klefki with the Rocky Helmet, max HP, max Vista. This is our Chanpa switch. And we're running the Dazzles, so a little stronger hit this time. Reflect, if we die, we can kind of help maybe some of our other members live hits from the Chanpao. Thunder Wave and Metal Sound. Metal Sound is just in case we are trapped by the Gothitelle, we can Metal Sound and then do a little more damage with the Dazzle. Because I could not afford Shell on the Klefki because I did need Chip on the Chanpao. Next up we have Slitherwing with the Payapa Berry. Pretty bulky, enough speed for the Gothitelle. We're running U-Turn, Morning Sun, Close Combat, and First Impression. U-Turn so we don't get trapped. U-Turn is just like good momentum versus like the Altaria Fortress, whatever. Close Combat seemed like my best hit versus the Rotom Wash. And just seems pretty decent in general. Then First Impression was just, priority is good versus Chanpao, Palm Art, and stuff. and Morning Sun to keep us healthy as usual. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much it. This has to be our additional check to the Chen Pao if possible, because I don't think Klefki can do it long term, especially if he brings Revival Blessing. So yeah, pretty much it. And Payapa was just so that in case it was Scarf Goth, we can just U-turn and kill it, and then it's not a threat for the rest of the game. I guess I could have been Shed Shell, but I definitely wanted to click U-turn out, so I guess Payapa made more sense. And then last we have Mudsdale with mixed defense, and we're running because Palmot was carry, and this was our only check, kind of. So we're running Roar, Earthquake, Body Press, and Stealth Rock. Roar just in case something tries to set up and gets out of hand. Earthquake's pretty good in general, and then Body Press was to hit the rotom in case we get a couple of boosts, and then Rocks because rocks are good. So yeah, let's jump into it. As for leads, I decided just lead with Slitherwing because I wasn't sure what I wanted to lead with. Volcarona didn't seem like a likely lead. It seems like something you would keep in the back, and if anyway, I could just go hard Glimora on it basically. So Slitherwing was just a pretty safe lead in general. I can just U-turn out on whatever. As he does leave Fortress, and here I guess scouting for the Flare Blitz swaps, as I'm able to just U-turn out safely. As the Altaria comes in, here he did reveal to be pretty bulky, but I didn't know if he had some sort of speed because my Glimora had no speed, right? So this roll didn't tell me if he could have just a little bit of speed in case he was creeping like a 0-speed Glimora or not. Because if he was, then I wouldn't know. Also, if he was like Chardy or something, right? Earthquake would just take me out. And the same thing with Roaring Moon. I didn't know if he would be Haban or not. Although I guess I could have gone into that and just clicked sub, but I didn't want to take like chip on it for no reason when I didn't know what was up. So I thought this moment was just fine to go into Mudsdale and click Rocks. Because also, like, I wasn't sure what this Altaria wanted to do, so I decided to just get up Rocks as he does click the Wisp. Kind of forgot that it got Wisp this generation. I knew it got Dragon Dance Braybird, which is the set I've been seeing on Rambats, but I forgot this also had Wisp. So that's on me. As he clicks Wisp, as I just get up Rocks, and here I was like, okay, he's not clicking Earthquake into Mudsdale, giving me a defense boost. So I just click Roar. I guess because I didn't know what he wanted to do. As I get Palmot, so I was like, okay, I can just click the Rocks again. As he makes a really good play and goes into Guarded Talon, so trapping me here. I guess because he saw the lefties. And here he clicks the Energy Ball, and again, as I said, I was just going to click Roar right away because if he tricks me as Scarf or whatever and I'm burned, I don't want that, so I just click Roar. And luckily for him, he goes back into Altaria, which is basically like the best case scenario for him, right? Like, I guess I got Palmont the first time, so I can't complain too much, but that time he had Defog, so it didn't matter, but now it kind of did if he went into something else. So a little unfortunate, but here I decided to just take this to go into my Iron Moth to get my Terra off, as he does click the Defog, and I was like, okay, cool. I just turned to Water and I Sludge Wave as it does half, as he clicks the Earthquake. And I just click the Sludge Wave again. He doesn't really have a good switch into it. If he goes into Volcarona, I can Terra Blast him after. Fortress isn't immune, but with that Fear Dance after, or will bring down to 1 HP. So he didn't really have a swap into Iron Moth, right? So I just clicked the Sludge Wave again, as he reveals to be Spit F-Got. So, and he does trap me, so I was like, okay, cool. I go for the Fear Dance, hoping for the boost. I do get it, as he reveals the Thunder Wave, which is pretty good prep by him. I was most worried about Scarf Cocktail and like the demon set, the Cosmic Power, Stored Power. So I didn't really consider that he could trap me to beat Thunder Wave, and I was like, oh, this is pretty good prep. This basically makes my Iron Moth useless, because the Volcarona will now outspeed, the Altaria will outspeed, and he can just roost until I get paired or whatever. So I was like, okay, but at this point though, I should still get a kill because I'm pretty healthy, and I'm pretty healthy, and I do have a boost, so Sludge Wave is definitely gonna get a kill, and even if he swaps into Altaria, like, I should get a kill here, right? There's nothing he can do about it. So I was like, okay. So I go for the Sludge Wave, as he does click the Energy Ball, But I get fully paired, and this sucks because if this Gothic Tail was gone, this definitely sucks because the Trapper being gone is big, right? Because I can play the rest of the game without fear of being trapped. But now this Gothic Tail lives to, live another day, which is really annoying. Definitely unlucky here, and this is, an outcome that affects the result of this game a lot. But now since I know he's not Scarf, I just go into my Roaring Moon and I click the sub as he goes into Volcarona. Kind of reading he's probably bulky. Here I decide to click the Throat Chop because since I've clicked sub, there's no way he's not clicking Bug Buzz, right? So I click the Throat Chop as he does try to click Bug Buzz. And here predicting the, the Fortress, because I just clicked the Throat Chop. I decided to click Fire Fang because Throat Chop into Fire Fang does not kill the Fortress, but if I click Fire Fang raw, it will kill him. But he decides to stay in. I do get a crit, which I guess is a little lucky. But again, I don't think it makes up for the para because his Gothic Tail would be gone and it would be a 5v5 game or even 6v5 because I could have still kept the Iron Moth around. But he clicks the Roost, so I was like, okay, I'll just click Outrage. So the crit mattered in the sense that he would not be in Outrage range without the crit, but I gotta guess a little lucky, but I would rather have the Gothic Tail dead than than getting the crit, in my opinion. It comes to Fortress because again, he doesn't really have anything to take this Outrage, right? Everything else would die to the Outrage. So he does go into Fortress and he does have the Body Press, so he's able to Body Press and break our sub. We only get 2 turns of Outrage, luckily. I guess I guess maybe those 2 make up for it. But overall, I don't think it makes up, but it's okay. It's Pokemon. It's fine. Here I go into Glimmora, but he calls that and makes a really good play and clicks Spikes. He did leave the Fire Fang, to be honest. I think I did not kill with Fire Fang because I think he was physically defensive. But yeah, I decided to just click Power Jump because as I said, he doesn't have a swap. But unfortunately, because we got paired, this Gothic Tail is out of range of 2 Power Gems. And that sucks because, as I said, he didn't really have a good Power Gem swap. And now, because 28 was a pretty high roll, I believe, or high to mid roll, so I was not going to kill him with another. So now I have to swap into my Roaring Moon once again and just take an extra spike damage while he can keep his Gothic Tail around and keep it around while it lives another Power Gem. So it was really, really annoying that this Gothic Tail was not gone. But here I click sub again. I don't know if I should click sub. Maybe I should just click Jaw Lock. But I click the Fire Fang. As you see, it only does 55. I do get the burn, but it doesn't matter to this one because Body Press still breaks the sub. I was like, okay, cool. And here I can click the Throat Chop because it was in range. And as you can see, it doesn't really have swap sync because this is resistant. It did 36%. And here I can just go into my Mudsdale as he clicks the Mach Punch and gets a crit, which does matter because with the boost we would lift the Ice Punch after, but he's able to Ice Punch and take us out, which is fine. And here I go into Glimmora. If he wants to hit me, he will have to set up the the Toxic Debris, the T-Spikes. Here I click Mortal Spin. I mean, this is something I want to say. I thought Mortal Spin just worked like Rapid Spin and hit everything, and it just didn't Toxic Steel types. But here it doesn't work, so I guess that makes sense because this is a Poison type move. But in my head, I thought it was just like Rapid Spin. It just spins and the Poison was the added effect, and you can spin versus anything. So that's my bad. If I knew that, I think my play would be to Power Gem. But I definitely missed up there, so I was like, okay, fine. Here I decided to just click Spikes. I thought he might hazard stack me back, whatever, but he reels the rest, so I was like, oh, okay. So I just clicked Power Gem, and in case, so I guess since he reeled rest, I was like, oh, he's Rest Hog, Body Press, Spike, so I was like, 2 out of 3 is in my favor. If he gets Body Press or, Rest, it's actually in my favor because I can just 2-hit KO him, and if he Body Presses me, I get my T-Spikes up, and he doesn't have Spin, and that's pretty big. But he gets lucky once again and gets this second layer Spikes, which is, again, annoying. But I just click Power Gem again as he sacks the Altaria, which is fine. But this is where, like, it would have mattered. If you got the body press or you got a rest, actually, we're going to talk about it after the game. In comes the Chen Pao. Here, I didn't really want to. So if he'd gotten body press and had gotten my toxic debris off, I think I was okay sacking off my Glimora, because I think at this point Slitherwing could definitely win because it kills the Gothitelle. It should kill the Palma. Well, it definitely kills the Palma with CC, and I think it should live any hit from it too. It won't kill the fort. It might kill the fortress with CC after spikes as well. So I was like, I might be able to win this, especially if I'm able to get up like Reflect or whatever. And if I had my T-Spikes up, I would sack the Glimora here, but because I don't, I decided to go hard into Klefki, not knowing what he would go for. As he reveals the Terra ground and reveals Speed Choice Bandit and clicks the Terra Blast and kills my Klefki in one. That's really unfortunate, because I definitely needed a Klefki to kind of check this, but now this thing is looking scary. So I just go into my Slitherwing and decide to click Close Combat as he clicks the Ice Bender. So it was not a choice band after. So I think he got a high roll. I'm not sure. Oh, maybe because there are 2 spikes, not 1. So I think he must have gotten either a high roll or maybe it was a roll in his favor to kill after the second spike. I think after 1 spike it would. I'm not actually. I don't remember because this was a while ago. But okay, here he reveals not to be banded. I thought it was banded, but I click Close Combat, and I don't kill. So I was like, oh, that's a little unfortunate and I got put in range of 2 layers of spikes. So I was like, okay. But I was like, okay, let me try by what you call it. Maybe he doesn't have the shard or something, but he did have the ice shard. And I don't think I was faster anyway, but I guess he just went to be safe. Because I think he was adamant, so he might have just assumed I would not be max speed Roaring Moon, which is fair. And unfortunately, that's GG because the Slitherwing is not. Slitherwing does not have the HP to live the second layer of spikes. So, unfortunately, that is it for our run. Our opponent played well, but he definitely got a little lucky, I would say. The para was huge because the Gothitelle was gone, which would definitely influence some plays because, like the Glimora, if the Gothitelle was gone, he didn't have swaps into Glimora, right? So I might have been able to get up my T-Spikes earlier, especially once the Volcarona was gone. I didn't need my Glimora, I just needed my T-Spikes up. And T-Spikes up before, like, Chen Pao came in, right? Which I would have been able to do if the Gothitelle was gone, because he would have to give me something on the Power Gem, right? If he wanted to keep his Fortress around, he definitely had to sack Altaria or something, and then if he sacks Altaria and it reveals not to be Boots, what I could have done is sack my Glimora then and then gone Klefki, which would make stuff, like, easier to deal with. And I think I definitely had, I think Slitherwing or Glimora, one of them could have definitely pulled it back, especially if the Chen Pao is dead. I think Slitherwing wins, right? Slitherwing and like the combination of whatever else I have left wouldn't win. So definitely unlucky. Him getting the second spike also sucked because that meant I couldn't first impression this Chen Pao after I came back. Although at that point I think it was over because I believe the Palmot would kill me with Ice Punch. But like things went his way a lot more than they did for me, which is unfortunate, but it's Pokemon, right? You can't get too mad. As I said, this was a low stress tour, and I definitely had fun. I definitely had a lot of fun using Iron Moth. We ended up with 18 kills with the Iron Moth and 6 with the Slitherwing, so we got 24 kills between the 2 Moths, and obviously if we didn't get paired, Iron Moth would have another kill, and I think Slitherwing could have gotten maybe 1 or 2 kills more, so it could have been 27, 26 kills for the Moth core, which is pretty cool. I also really enjoyed using Glimora. I think he has really cool with the Corrosion Toxic as well as the Toxic Debris. Both pretty good abilities, has good coverage. I really like him. I think he looks ugly, but his shiny actually looks okay, but he looks ugly, but Pretty good Pokemon. Roaring Moon, I'm not sold on him. I think he's cool. But without Terra, it just seems a little weak. He just reminds me of Switch Coco, um, where he's better as an enabler. Um, Klefki was okay in this gen. Like limited decks, I think Klefki always thrives because there's less removal, so screens and hazards are good. And since this meta is so offensive, like a Trick, Lagging Tail, or Thunder Wave is pretty good tools to have. Mudsdale is just okay. I don't think he's okay. He's just a normal bulky ground. And a lot of people have been hating on Slowking this meta, thinking there's too many dark types and doesn't do well. But I found him okay. Like he is once again a pretty good pivot. You can Cold Bird, Thunder Wave, whatever. You can Cold Bird Focus Blast if you feel lucky and you hit. I think he's okay. Chilly Reception is still great, especially if you pair Slowking with like Excalibur or say Titan or something. Feels like it would be really good. So yeah, that was a run. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. I don't have anything coming up for a while. I'm gonna play in Trick House. I might upload, I might not, depending on how I enjoy the season. I don't think I'll be doing DPL, so that's probably not gonna be on there. But maybe I could make some DPL videos. I don't know. We'll see. Also playing a Wi-Fi League, but I don't have the capture card or whatever to upload, so I won't be uploading that. But also there's more Smogon Draft League tours, like this Oras Cup, Usum Cup, Swish Cup, Low Tier Lil Cup. And I think I've been really enjoying this collaboration between Smogon and Draft League, so I think I will take part in those. And I believe the next one's around like end of February or start of March, so I probably will do those. And when I do, I'll probably upload those because I've been having fun with these tours. I feel like this is the perfect tours, like low stress, just play your games, just draft something fun and just play. So I think I will do those more. But yeah, this was pretty fun and I enjoyed it. So thanks to Smogon for the opportunity. And that's all. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.